Rev up your engines. Okay, today we're going to learn about a 2022 CX-5 Mazda. You got to say, they're beautiful looking vehicles. Mazda's got the style down pat. And this is CX-5 all-wheel drive, but it is a Skyactiv Turbo. On the other hand, it's made in Japan, which is what you want. Now, the owner was thinking about getting a CX-30, but he went to the bigger one because he saw that one was made in Mexico. This is made in Japan. And that is a smart move. You get a Japanese car made in Japan, they are always better. Especially better than stuff that's made in Mexico. Now, Mazda and Toyota are making cars in Alabama on the same assembly line, and I haven't seen any problems with that. But personally, I'd stay away from cars made in Mexico. So far, he's got 25,000 miles, and the only problem he had, the infotainment system went a little wacky. He reset it, and then it worked. But other than that, he's had no problems at all. So look under the hood, it's Skyactiv G Turbo. Like I say, I'm not a turbo fan, and there goes the stupid beauty cover in the snow. There it goes. Mazda makes pretty good engines, right? This is the Skyactiv Turbo, very complex system. So far he's had not a lick of problem with it. I haven't seen any particular problems. Now, if you drive it conservatively, he gets 27 on the highway. But he says it's more 22, 23 when he gets on it because he likes driving it fast. And considering it's a nice spacious car and it is all-wheel drive, that's what you're going to get in the real world. Don't listen to any of this crap about, oh, turbos get better gas mileage. Now, they do have more power, yes, but realize when they do the gas mileage testing, it's a load of baloney. They run them on dynos and stuff, and the turbo's going at one speed, right? When a human being, especially a man like this who likes to drive fast, gets in one of these, whoop, it's pedal to the metal, the turbo kicks in, it revs higher, and consequently, you get a lot worse gas mileage than what they're rated for. His is real, and that's what you're gonna get if you're a normal or hard driver with one of these things. We've got all kinds of electronics for the Skyactiv system. It really is a marvel of engineering. Mazda's pretty smart. Look, they tell you to use 5W30. So I really think their engineers know what they're doing, because with the turbo, it needs better lubrication. A lot of the modern cars are going to 0.20, 0.10. Now, they realize that the system needs lubrication for the turbo that's spinning real fast, so they're not using the super lightweight oil. And I think that was a smart move on Mazda's behalf. Mazda's got some excellent engineers, percentage of them's owned by Toyota now, and as far as I'm concerned, Mazdas have gone way up in quality compared to what they were making decades ago. Where Honda, I see, is starting to go downhill, Mazda's actually going uphill. Now, this has an actual 6-speed automatic transmission with gears, which is one of the reasons he bought it. He's like me. We both hate CVTs because they just don't feel right. I mean, it's gotten to the point that if you look at any of the modern ones, they have fake shift points where it feels like they're shifting. They don't have any gears to shift with, but they're faking it because they know people don't like the way he said, let's try to redesign it. This is an actual 6-speed, a proven transmission, gets decent gas mileage, but is a joy to drive. So you're getting a car that is fun to drive. He's happy that he didn't get the smaller one, even though he had to pay more for this. A lot of times, if you balance what you want versus what you get, a lot of times you're better off paying a little bit more. This thing's made in Japan. It'll outlast the stuff made in Mexico by far. Now, all that said, the owner just told me it was a compromise vehicle because he wanted a real sporty one, right? And she wanted a real practical one. Well, I do have to say, they found a perfect compromise because it's very practical, but it's also sporty. You'll see when we take it for a road test. They're very sporty vehicles, like most Mazdas are. Their zoom zoom isn't just a slogan. They are pretty zippy cars. Now, his previous vehicle was a Ford Escape, and he was really furious at it because he found it kept getting water inside the car. Took it to Ford. They said, oh, we can't find anything wrong. So he takes it to an independent garage, and they explain, well, they didn't really weld the roofs right, so they leak and water gets in, and Ford isn't having anything to do with fixing them free because, of course, it would cost them a fortune. They would have to tear the whole inside of the car off and the roof. They'd have to re-weld it, and then they'd have to put it all back together again. So he said, to heck with that. bad, and he did get lucky because he got rid of it during the pandemic, and the prices were so insane. He got rid of it for what he paid for it. So he paid 40 grand for this, which is 5 grand less than the average car at the time. We'll stick my fancy computer on it, see what's going on. I'm sure there's nothing wrong with it, but hey, you never know. Well, here we go. We got it all set up. We're gonna do a standalone diagnosis. Shouldn't take long. Read the VIN already. It is a pretty new car after all. Got a lot of high tech. Knows it's a CX-5, 2.5 liter automatic, nice sized engine, all-wheel drive. Okay, whole topology scan. So here we go. Now while it's scanning, let's look around. All kinds of controls on your steering wheel. Nice sporty steering wheel, and it is a 6-speed automatic, which you can also shift manually. Got the cute little paddle shifters if you want to shift it yourself. It does have the electric parking brake. I don't like them, but they all come with them these days. Nice sunroof, good controls. Okay, now strangely enough, there's 7 trouble codes. So let's start out and see what's going on. The instrument cluster. Trouble code is low tire pressure. Well, that's bizarre. He did say the instrument panel got a little bit odd, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to erase that code. Well, that's gone, so it says it has ABS code. That's probably going to be another tire pressure code. And it says there's a problem with the steering wheel position sensor. Now, he hasn't had any problem with it, so now while we're driving, so for the time being, we'll erase that code too. A PCM code, so let's check that out. Brake pedal position, accelerator pedal position incompatible. We're really getting some weird ones here, so I'll erase that one too. Now he still has the original battery. A lot of them might be related to that, so we're going to test that before we take it for a road test after I look at all this data. There's another code for the smart start unit. Maybe it isn't as smart as it thinks it is. Now realize this vehicle doesn't have that stupid start stop system. He didn't like it. He didn't want a car with that, so he bought one that doesn't have that in it. And I agree. Wears out an engine starting and stopping it all the time. Anti-theft system transmitter has a problem, but it's always started for him. He hadn't had a problem, so we'll erase that one. And we'll check. Here's some more codes here. Forward sensing camera. I see those things have a problem all the time. Probably the thing that says that dirt on it or something. And has codes for the vision system camera on it. Performance or incorrect operation. Performance. They do get dirty. You gotta clean those cameras on the front of the car every once in a while. All right, we'll look at the last one. Smart brake support. Radar cruise control. Software incompatibility with vehicle dynamics control module. Boy, that's a mouthful for you. He could go get it reprogrammed if he wanted to. So let's start her up. We'll look at some live data. Look at some general data here. Variable valve time is normal. No misfires. Running like a clock. And the Lambda ratio is 1, which is what you want. That's perfect. The owner just told me he thinks some of those other codes came because his adaptive cruise control, in a snowstorm and everything got covered up and it said it's not working and such. So me resetting it now will probably fix most of it. We'll look at the rest of the data. The equivalence ratio, look, it's 1. It's perfect. Car's running perfect. So before I take it for a road test, let's check out the battery. So we'll check the old battery out here. Hook up the tester. Get it on nice and tight. Gotta make sure they're on tight or you'll get a false reading. We do battery capacity. Battery. 550. And we'll see what it says. Okay, it's a good battery. The state of charge is 100%. He drove here from Kentucky, so it's fully charged. And the state of health is 70%. It's lost like almost 100 cold cranking, but that's still 70%, so it's okay. A lot of that stuff probably was because he was in a snowstorm with things. Added air to the tires at some point in time. It had a low pressure on the tire, which it doesn't have now. And we can see it's got a pretty good backup camera here. You can really see quite well. So I won't hit my neighbor's mailbox there. Very quiet engine. You're reasonably high up in the air so you can see what you're doing. And since it's all-wheel drive, we don't have to worry about the snow, do we? Whee! 6 speeds. Shifts like a dream. And you can see, if you can see what I'm looking at, it does have a heads up so we can see how fast you're going. Even though it's bright outside, I see it's doing 14, 15, 16. Now it's against the road. You can see it a little better probably. Brakes are nicely proportioned. So we'll take it to our little drag strip here. There's nobody behind us. So we'll come to a stop. This is all-wheel drive, so it's not going to burn any rubber. It tried to. Nice crisp acceleration, nice quiet ride. It's definitely much of an improvement over the smaller Mazda. It's made in Japan, the other one's made in Mexico. And then when you got to accelerate to pass somebody, you floor it. You can see it's picking up nicely. It's got some nice acceleration with that turbo. Mind you, it'll wear things out a little bit faster too, but hey, you can't have your cake, you need it too, right? Nice, somewhat stiff zoom handling. I can feel really nice feedback swinging it back and forth. Got nice handling. Some people might say it's a little too stiff, but hey, if you want to have some fun driving, this is what you want. Like the owner said, this was his compromise between speed and handling versus functionality that his wife wanted. And when we come to a stop, I agree with the owner. I love it because it doesn't have that stupid stop-start technology where you got to push the button to keep it from doing it. It just runs like a normal car. And unlike the Ford that this replaced, it doesn't leak water and it doesn't fall apart in front of your very eyes. Said about the turbo, of course, you're going to get worse gas mileage. If you drive it hard, you can see I'm ruining even his. He was averaging 20-something, but now it's only averaging 16.7 because I'm driving it like this, and it will use more gas. I like this heads-up display, so I can see that I'm doing 42 miles an hour now. I don't have to look down, keeps my eyes on the road. And compared to his other vehicle, which happens to be a Toyota Prius with like 175,000 miles on it, and really hard miles, all done in Queens in New York City, this thing rides like an absolute dream compared to what one of those Priuses rides. They have a reasonably rough ride in those things. Nothing like the acceleration that this thing has too. Try doing this in a Prius, and it's not going to act up like that. At least with the older Priuses like he has. We're going fast, I'm flooring it, and it's handling like a dream. So what do I think? Well, it is a practical, fun car. It's made in Japan. It's solid built. It handles really well. I'm not a turbo fan because I know they wear out faster and I'm a cheapskate. But it's still a reasonable size 2.5 liter engine. So it's not like some stinky little 1 or 1.3 liter tiny engine pushing it as far as it can go. They look good, they're fun to drive. Hey, and it's not leaking like his Ford did. Strangely enough, he was always a Toyota man. That's the other Prius that he has. But for some reason he decided to buy a Ford, and he said that's probably the last Ford he'll ever buy. So he's content with it. I would be content with this car. Not phenomenal gas mileage, but decent gas mileage. Lots of space, you feel real safe inside, and it's very luxurious. So I gotta say, he made a good choice buying this instead of buying the cheaper 30 that's made in Mexico. This is made in Japan. You can feel the quality in it. That 6-speed automatic tranny shifts like a dream. I gotta say, hey, he made a wise choice. Sure, it was a compromise, but isn't everything in life a compromise? At least for us who are still standing. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.